Hello, friends. Welcome back to Flavors and Knowledge, the podcast where we explore the science, history, and the artistry behind the cooking. I'm Chef Walter, your host, and today we are tackling a topic that occasionally confuses many home bakers: baking soda versus baking powder. And understanding the differences between these two ingredients can mean the difference between a perfect bake and a kitchen disaster. And so let's break it down together. Baking soda, also known as sodium bicarbonate, is a base. It requires an acid, such as vinegar, lemon, or yogurt, and to create a chemical reaction that releases the carbon dioxide gas that we need. This reaction helps you bake goods rise. And because baking soda reacts immediately when mixed with an acid, any recipes that call should be baked right away to take full advantage of its leavening power. Baking powder, on the other hand, is a complete leavening agent. It contains both a base, baking soda, and an acid, usually cream of tartar, along with a stabilizer like cornstarch. There are two types of baking powder: the single-acting and the double-acting. The more common double-acting variety reacts twice. First when it's mixed with wet ingredients, and again when it's exposed to heat in the oven. This delayed reaction gives our baked goods a better rise and, of course, more stability. And so, how do you know which one to use? Baking soda is the best for recipes that contain acidic ingredients like buttermilk, brown sugar, or chocolate. It helps to balance the acidity and prevents a soapy taste. Since it's more potent than baking powder, only a small amount is typically needed. Baking powder is ideal for recipes without strong acidic components, such as cakes and muffins. And because of the double-acting action leavening, it provides a steady and a controlled rise, which results in a lighter, fluffier baked goods. But what happens if you find yourself missing one of these ingredients? If you only have baking soda and need to replace baking powder, you need to mix 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda with half teaspoon of cream of tartar. If you only have baking powder but you need baking soda, you'll need about 3 times as much, though this may slightly alter the flavor of your recipe. And let me give you some suggestions and some additional tips for a perfect baking. If you're looking for freshness, baking soda and baking powder lose potency over time. So test the baking soda by adding a few drops of vinegar, and it should fizz. Test baking powder by adding it to hot water, and it should bubble. And that tells you that it is still active. If you need to measure correctly, too much or too little can affect the texture and the rise of your baked goods. Always try to be precise. Lastly, bake immediately. If your recipe relies on baking soda, get it into the oven quickly to capture the full leavening effect. Baking soda tends to create a darker, crispier crust due to its strong base properties. It also neutralizes acidic flavors, balancing the overall taste of a recipe. Baking powder, on the other hand, produces a gentler rise without impacting flavor too much. This makes a preferred choice for recipes where you want a light and a hairy texture without altering the taste. Have you ever noticed aluminum-free on baking powder labels? Traditional baking powders contain sodium aluminum sulfate, which extends the reaction time, making it a double-acting. However, some bakers prefer aluminum-free version to avoid a slight metallic aftertaste. And so these versions rely on other acids like cream of tartar for the leavening aspect. But unlike baking powder, baking soda is naturally aluminum-free, and any product labeled as such is simply a marketing strategy. And since baking soda is a single ingredient leavening agent, there is no need for aluminum in its composition. And so, dear listeners, to wrap things up a little bit, baking soda needs an acidic ingredient to activate, while baking powder contains everything necessary for the rice. Knowing when and how to use each will elevate your baking skills, and it will guarantee better results in your kitchen. And whether you are baking a batch of chocolate chip cookies or a delicate sponge cake, mastering these leavening agents ensures the best flavor, your texture, and the rice to your creation. And that is all for today's episode of Flavors and Knowledge. If you enjoyed this discussion, be sure to subscribe and share with fellow food lovers. Until the next time, keep cooking with passion and knowledge. Ciao, ciao.